Oh, you're gonna start that way. When you ask a person to talk about their mama, tears start. Okay, so I'm gonna just gingerly touch on that because I don't want to make this a Oprah moment and you have me crying sitting here on your show. But my mother is amazing, just like your mother. Strong, passionate, loving, and would do anything for her children. She lives for her kids. That's my mother. And so I'm crying already. I
Tell me
hate
about,
you. I hate you.
that's what I do. Tell me about your daddy.
Oh my goodness, the same way. Cut from a cloth that just very prideful, loved his family, loved his community, strong, passionate, grew up poor, but made it just by working and being consistent, having that strong work ethic. But a wonderful, wonderful husband. Him and my mother, 60 years married, 60 years married, 60 years, 60 years this in April. That's why I had to put a point on that. But you've met my parents, Doni, so I appreciate you asking me about them. Thank you.
They showed up. They showed up
They-
for they show up for you. I mean, and what 2023? They show up for you.
Yeah, and they always have, from here to here
I watched them together, and when I saw them at the most recent event,
at the Center Club. Hmm.
it was so. I saw them the first time, so when I saw them the second time, it was like, wow, they are really like this. He's just sitting there.
They show up. They show up. And but of course, Doni, after the event, they tell you, oh, you should have did this and you should have did that, and what was wrong with your hair, and they're still parents. So they're still hovering and taking a look and making sure that their daughter's okay, even though I'm in the moment, I'm in the thick of things, they're still being parents.
So tell us about that. Who does an event at the Center Club?
Doni.
Nicole Kirby.
Well,
Who even knows about the Center Club?
thank you. And that's why I did it there. And that was the second year. Because unfortunately, many people of color don't know about the Center Club. And a few years back, I was invited to a meeting at the Center Club. And I took stock of who was walking around in that building.
Oh, that's where the Movers and the Shakers are. It's one of the top 10 private dining clubs in the United States. Right in downtown Baltimore.
There you go.
Did I tell you that I used to work there?
You briefly told me, but I didn't. So I knew, Glover, when you walked in, your energy shifted. And as I was talking to you, I could see you through your eyes replaying your memories in that building.
Now, I'm going to be polite since you're on the show, but I remember that place. One of the top 10 private dining clubs back when Burke's was across the street. Burke's was a diner. They had the best Maryland crab soup in the world. They're Maryland crab. But all of the employees from the Center Club would meet over at Burke's after work. And this was, woo. This was like 87, 88 when I worked there. But I come to find out that my grandmother's brother retired from there.
Wow. History. Wow.
I believe my father at some juncture worked there. You had to have a tuxedo. Private dining club. Love a lot of great memories. Certainly, they are known for their crab cakes. So tell us about the event you did there with the ensemble of phenomenal women.
Well, to go back to why I had it at the Center Club, I definitely believe that association is important, and being able to have access to things is important. And when you are exposed to things, that's that third trifecta that allows your mind to expand. So the event that it was the second year, and thank you, sir, again for coming. This was an event that was birthed right after COVID. And I was sitting down with a client. We hadn't seen each other belly to belly, face to face for a while. And I looked at her, and you and I, we sometimes our filter isn't turned all the way up and we let stuff come out. So I said to her, I said, "You look tired." I said, "Oh, you okay?" And she said, "I'm so tired. I've worked harder now during COVID than I did prior to COVID." And then as a Black female, she then looked at me and she said, "Well, you look the same way." And so we said, "You know what? Let's get together. Let's just have lunch and let's just calm down for a moment. We're still running and we haven't had a break." The lunch meeting that we were supposed to have turned into 5 women, then 10 women. Then we said, "Wait a minute, well, let's go ahead and get a room at a restaurant." Then we had 25 women on the list. Then I said, "Wait a minute, let's step back." Because everyone I was calling, they were saying, "You're on it. I'm tired. I've worked harder. I had to do this, 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 and this, in addition to keeping my family safe, my health safe, all of that." That's what birthed that event. And it became a celebration to say, you don't ride around in a Black SUV every day with security. You may not have a press release that goes out about you. People don't know your name. Your circle does. But we see you. We see what you're doing. We're seeing how you've kept your organizations, your community, and your family together. We see you. So a lot of the women in that room are executive women, Doni, Black women, C-suite, that we don't know anything about. But because we are all in that circle, just like you, sir, you and I, when we cross paths doing our work and in that grind and in that grit every day, but we never stop to say, "Let me stop and take you out to coffee," and we do it. That event was all about, to say, wait a minute, for 3 hours on this day, we're going to let you know that we see you. And that's what the event was all about.
Tell me about Carver Communications.
Carver Communications birthed out of a boss not being appreciative, period. So I didn't actually grow up saying I want to be an entrepreneur. I just knew I wanted to be an executive. I knew I wanted to be in the communications field. And, that's what I was doing. I was working for corporate America. And then after a few times someone rubs you the wrong way, your mind start to tick in another way, saying, wait a minute, you got one more time to speak to me in that tone. You didn't curse at me, didn't do anything lewd, but you got one more time and that tone's not right. And there's going to be an issue.
Oh, let's see that again. That's the tiger smile. That's that tiger smile. Because the next thing is going to be a razor blade on the left side on the jugular.
There you go. And here's the thing about me, Doni. I'm an interesting female animal. You can call me any name out the book. But if you say something to me in that wrong tone, that's what clicked. And that's what happened to me. Someone said something in the wrong tone. And that tone had so much venom in it. It said, you know what? I don't need this. And so I started.
In the city of Baltimore, they call that crack and slick.
I'm going to steal that from you. I like that.
Yeah, we don't like people who crack slick.
No. And I caught what the person was throwing, and I said, okay. The nail had gotten hard, and I said, I'm getting off of it. And so I started slowly taking on small little projects. And the people that I was doing work for
No,
were,
no, no. Hold up, hold up. Do you remember the first project?
you know, yes, I think I do. I don't know. I don't know because, Donnie, just like you and I, you do so much that's gratis. Someone calls you, start talking to them, and you walk them through an issue. You walk them through a project. You see someone, they ask you a question, you help them with them, you on your way. And they leave going, oh my goodness, I was stuck. Thank you. And so I was doing the same thing. People would call and they'd say, do you have 5 minutes? 5 minutes would turn into a 2-hour consultation. But at that moment when I had that nip in the nail, that slogan, that saying, when I started hearing people say, oh my goodness, Nicole, thank you so much. And then they would hang up the phone and not deliver or render a payment. I said, okay, I can no longer function where 100% of my value time is going out the door free.
Okay, I got to reel this back a bit because I was looking in between mentioning your mom and your dad and this first gig. I was looking for birth out of a boss. Who was there running a business? Someone in your family ran a business?
Both of them, both my mom and dad. They both worked full-time jobs, but they both had hustles on the side. All my life, entire life. So yeah, you hit it. Thank you, Mr. Journalist. You dug deeper and you brought it out of me. You're right. They did, both of them. All of their lives. All of their lives, both of them.
What does that mean to an entrepreneur to have a parent who's an entrepreneur? Two parents.
Uh-huh. And here's the thing, the interesting thing, they're Washingtonians, and they didn't call themselves entrepreneurs. They called, it was a hustle, it was a side gig. So they didn't title it that way. But I saw it that way. And so I knew growing up that even though you have your full-time job, you have your 9 to 5, you still have to come home, and on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you got another hustle. Always. So that wasn't uncommon for me to see or to notice and to say, that's how we do things. That's how you're able to matriculate and get some extra money, because I knew that the full-time job must not be paying them what they need, because both of them had side hustles all the time.
So what is the first project that you recall?
Doni, wow. That, I'm
First
sorry.
invoice?
Well, let me say this. It wasn't an invoice. It was, in the church world, they call it a love offering.
I understand. I am.
So
I'm going with the Muslims. You're going to pay me this time.
So what happened was I was doing a conference in the Bahamas. Okay. In the Bahamas, I was so inundated trying to bring this thing together because that was my first out of state conference. 3, 4, 5,000 people. And this couple that I knew walked up to me and said, we want to get married. Can you help us? When do you want to get married? This weekend while we're at the conference. Are you kidding me? But I said yes. I went and found them a pastor, set everything on the beach. And then they said, well, can you be at the wedding? I came and ran down to the wedding and, it was beautiful. I'm leaving. I didn't want anything. I wasn't thinking, let me charge them. That was the heart talking. But once they put that $500, that love offering in my hand, the heart moved to the head.
And you said without a 3,500
But you know what? That's one thing, Doni. I still do a lot of free work.
Why?
For people who I really think need that mentorship. Because as a Black...
See, Baltimore put a hold on that. Is it a Washingtonian thing? I don't know, because the You
it's
get free stuff, people tend not to be grateful.
no, you've got to have, and again, that discernment.
Of knowing who to bless and who to
There you go. There you go. Now I have been burned.
live, to live.
I have been burnt with helping people that, and in hindsight, I said they didn't appreciate it. I know not to do that to that person again. But there are some small businesses that they, can you walk me through this issue, or how should I do that? And I will yield them a consultation for free. Because Donnie, I didn't have a mentor in this business growing up. No one took me by the hand and said, don't do that. Don't do that. Do this. Go this way. So I believe that the reason why I'm so blessed is because I do that.
Give back. You know, Nicole, I live not far from historic Pennsylvania Avenue, and it has a challenging reputation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a couple of blocks from here, and that strip features some of our young people, and they're involved in activities that I wish they weren't involved in. And there are people who love me who wish I didn't go around there. But I can tell you that that's a love offering. Somebody might need a job. Somebody might be tired of selling whatever it is they're selling. And they might need a referral. I got a referral yesterday, a young father who does work, but who is homeless.
Mm-hmm.
It's my assignment for now, but it's my assignment because a lot of people are afraid about young people. They're scared of them. And I feel the same way you do. I know that I'm here for a reason, and God is always taking care of me. I don't worry about things I want or things I don't have because our God has everything. Better than blessed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you know this, we're going into baseball season. You know about baseball?
I know a little bit about baseball.
Okay, so not everything gonna be a fastball. Every now and then I'm gonna have to throw you a curveball. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm at the plate.
Who's your most interesting client ever?
You know what, Donnie? I'm going to have to go because you do not play fair. I should have had you sign some type of agreement. Next question, please. I've had a lot of interesting clients.
Okay. I remember seeing you. The year was 2015. I saw you. Now I know you're Washingtonian. I know you like the Center Club, but I saw you on North Avenue, and not North Avenue. I saw you on North Avenue. What were you doing on North Avenue?
Donnie, I believe you and I were doing a post Freddie Gray walk down North Avenue. That's what we were doing on North Avenue, and we were walking, doing a rally with. At that time, I think Catherine Pugh was there, and
Danny Glover was there.
Danny Glover, and we were walking and doing a rally. I can't even remember because at that time there were so many, but it was one of those advocacy, rouse attention rallies.
What was the spirit in Baltimore from your perspective? I know for me it was the darkest day of my adult life. I guess the darkest day of my childhood was 68 riots. Back when they took coat hangers with steel wool on the end. They opened up the coat hanger, they tied steel wool on the end, lighted a fire, and would throw it. And I remember the tanks coming up North Avenue. My dad had a funeral home. We were over in East Baltimore, Patterson Park, and Landville. There were National Guard on the front of the building. And I remember people just, I vaguely remember the spirit, but I knew people were angry. Dr. King had just gotten killed. Baltimore, that was Freddie Gray was the ugliest time in Baltimore. It was just pure ugly. What did you see?
I saw people who, one, were saying what I've been saying was not a lie.
Who?
You see what we've been saying. So when you tell someone, I didn't do it, they're the ones doing it, and you're trying to prove yourself. Freddie Gray was that the proof. But then I saw empathy, and then I saw anger.
Tell me about the empathy.
Because, Doni, you and I, there were several people there who had signs that had names of loved ones who had gone through the same thing. But they were saying, my brother is Freddie Gray. My sister is Freddie Gray. My uncle. And so, but there was not going to be an immediate resolution. And so the only thing we could do, you and I were doing on that day on North Avenue, was keep the people who wanted some type of resolution, some want to be heard, want to be seen, want to be acknowledged, to say we see you. And we're out here advocating for you. We don't know what's going to happen, but we're willing to get up out of our beds, put on our walking shoes, use our voice, use our bodies. Police were lined up and down North Avenue to say, we see you.
You do crisis management. What kind of clients, what kind of services would a client need in crisis management? I mean, politicians come to mind. We've seen politicians go through some stuff here in Baltimore, especially if you're Black. I mean, my God, Catherine Pugh needed a PR person. Hell, Sheila Dixon needed a PR person at some juncture. What do you do for people in crisis? I mean, you're like, what was that show with the White House? You know that lady.
Yes. I'm sorry. Scandal. That's right. Yeah.
She was a crisis management expert who knew everybody from the White House to, wherever.
And that's one aspect, Doni. The people that I have in my phone, in my Rolodex, I'm going to use an old terminology.
Rolodex. Whoa.
They know.
That was old.
They know that
Rolodex around here. A Rolodex. You got to pull out the rotary phone too, don't you?
But they know that I've never called you, Doni, to talk, to gossip. When I call you, it's about, listen, do you have something here? I got something going on. I need your knowledge. I need your information. Or one, I've got to give you something that's important. And so 90% of the numbers that I have in my phone are those people that are my connected dots, or my cuts down my 6 degrees of separation. That's number one. Number two, when you're dealing with crises, you have to have a mind where you are so forward thinking. So I have a photogenic mind. And when you're talking, Doni, I see pictures. So if you're saying North Avenue, I'm at North Avenue. I can see North Avenue. I can see the police officer. I can see everything. And so in crises, one of the things that you have to be able to do is see the situation and then go several blocks up, go several days up, go several months up, and be able to articulate, if I make a right-hand turn, where am I going to be? What road am I going to be on? If I make a left-hand turn, what road am I going to be on? The third thing is, when you're sitting down with a person who's in crises, you have to come in with a level of stamina, grit, and know how to take charge of a situation, so they feel that they're going to be handled correctly and the situation's going to be done.
Is it any different than a personal situation? Say a family member just gets locked up, or a family member had a car accident, or a family member got in a domestic situation. Is it similar?
Everyone, your level of crises may not be someone else's level of crises. So it depends.
Ooh.
It depends on the person and what they have to lose. So, someone who's in politics who has a crisis, let's say someone took a picture of them and they were in a car doing something illicit. That level of crisis may be different than a basketball player. He'd be like, yeah, put it out there. I don't care. But his camp may be saying, don't put it out there. So now I come in and say, okay, what's the level of bruising for this client if it's exposed? Now, the one thing we also have to remember, Doni, that culturally, the way that you handle a situation is different also.
What do you mean? It's different for African Americans. It's different for Black folk in the media.
Mm-hmm.
Once they sick Mackenzie Frost on you, it's a whole different landscape. I see a little short lady. I see her get up on the politicians, and they it's like, what are you doing? Why you let that little lady intimidate you? What happened to you? What happened to Tough Tony?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it depends, interesting that you say Tough Tony, because a lot of people see me one way, but they don't see me when I walk in the door and I'm dealing with the crises. It's a different demeanor. It's a different cadence in how you're handling something. So, Doni, if you were going through crises and I come in the door and I'm your spokesperson,
It's the Warriors. It's like Wakanda forever.
Now, I'm not coming in cursing or anything, but we getting into it. And so when you're dealing with crises, you have to have a certain amount of bullish temperament that you can't be bullied. You can't be bought. You can't be broken. And if you want to rise up, what?
What advice would you give our young ladies who are thinking about starting a business? I have a daughter. She's 22. She's been in business for 6 years. What advice would you give our young ladies considering entrepreneurship?
I would tell them that even in this day and age, women in business aren't really taken seriously. You have to be better. You have to do things better. And your tenacity has to be so unwavering that even when the days seem like they are not going the way that they should, continue. Because being in business for yourself, when you lay your head on that pillow at night, it's the best sleep you'll ever get. Because you know that you put yourself out there giving your best, but you have to give your best. I tell young people who want to work with me, you may think that this is easy, but because I'm a Black female owner, my work is so much harder. I've got to be better. I cannot make any mistakes. I cannot make one mistake, not one. You call me, I pick up the phone on the first ring all the time. You say why? Because you're in business, because you're Black, because you're female. So any luxuries that other people get, take it off the table for yourself. Is it hard? Yes. Yes, it is hard. But is it worth it? Yes. Yes, it is worth it.
Why is it worth it?
Freedom. Because I can tell you, you know what? I think we're done here. And I can pick up my keys, my coffee mug, and walk out the door. I don't hate you. Hope I see you next week. But this, what we're doing here, it's done.
I'm a Black man, and I want to understand what you mean when you say how presumably America treats the Black woman. If I were your son, if I were your husband, what would you want me to understand about your struggles? Say I work a gig somewhere, or but when you come home and you're telling me about your day, help me to understand your struggle.
There are two sides of the coin. So one, as a Black woman, there are the negatives and the positives. One, they want you to come in, they do want you to be strong. Black women know how to move things in the Black community, get things done. We don't have any feelings. We strong. We'll fight you. That's the other side of the negative part is that Black women are sassy, very emotional, combative, aggressive. And so when you ask, oh, this woman is aggressive, and if she's white, aggressive can mean one thing, but if she's Black, aggressive means another thing. So as a Black woman, when I come into a meeting, I assess the room. If it's all Black men or Black men and women, I know that my demeanor is understood because there's a cultural thing. But if I come into a meeting and it's mixed or if it's all white, I do have to be mindful that if I raise my voice and I do this, then I know that they're thinking that, oh, that's that Black sassy woman coming out. And sometimes they have to see that. But I have to be cognizant of that. Now, also, Doni, we're going to tiptoe through the gardens. I walk in a meeting and it's all Black men. I'll see them look on the table, try to look at my legs, look to see if I'm going to take off my coat. But when I sit down, I have to let them know this is business.
What would you like to see Black men doing more of?
I think they're doing all that they can because we're all in this struggle together in this world of privilege. Because the Black man has his fight as well. And right now, America is taunting the Black woman, and they should, respectfully, they should. We put presidents and vice presidents in the House. But we need to continue together. So I don't want to separate and say what someone should do over the other. It's not a conversation.
What do we need to do as a people?
As a people, Doni, collectively in business, we all have to do better. And I say that because I've sat down for contracts interview, and a client has said, you the last Black PR company, you the last Black person we haven't coming in, because the last three were. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't happen in the white business realm, but I've heard it too much. I've heard it too often. Or even when me, as a Black business owner, try to work with another Black company and you drop the ball, we all look bad.
Yes.
So that's when I say we all need to do better collectively.
Maryland is a 30% Black state. There's a goal of 29% for MBE, Minority Business Enterprise, which suggests that Black businesses ought to be getting technically 30% of the business, but it doesn't work that way. Contracts get bundled real big to where historically the white boys control the contract. They hire a black subcontractor. They pay him or they don't pay him. But in any event, in a 30% black state, the white boys, or in MBE, 97% of the contracts are going to white women. You and I know all of the politicians. What do our politicians need to understand about black business?
Well, the first thing that they say is you've got to go ahead and get your certifications and get qualified. Well, as a black business, if it's you and one other person, but you're still taking on quantities of work, it's still hard to do that. So it's one way to say, okay, here's a certification process. You got to go do it. But that certification takes 4, 5, 6 months. So here's the thing. It's always, we've put measures in place. But if the measures that you put in place are unattainable, they don't matter.
Or if you put in the measures for people to go through this certification process, but I guess the same thing, but there's still barriers, then what have you really done? You really wasted their damn time.
There you go. There you go. There you go. And then it just means that the same black contractors, and they should, if they've done the work and they can get through, are getting the contracts.
But do you think maybe too much emphasis is being put on MBE programs? For instance, we have a black governor. I don't think I've ever gotten an MBE contract. I've gotten a contract because I know so-and-so, and so-and-so picked up the phone and said, give him a contract.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like. That's what I need.
Mm-hmm.
But I need someone to call, someone who knows my value.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What is your value?
Oh, Doni, really, you can't. My value is unattainable. But the issue is my time is too valuable to have to, for me, like you just said, mire in the muck with trying to do a government contract. So 90% of my contracts are from private corporations. Period. And it's simple. Come and meet, give them a one-page strategy report. And now I can do this at where I am now. I tell them I don't do proposals.
Whoa! A woman after my own heart. Why don't you do proposals?
Yeah, no, I don't do it.
Why?
We're going to meet. Then if we like one another, if the energy is good,
woo!
if I'm passionate about who you are, what you do, and what we're here to represent, that's the first goal. And so I do believe in meeting, not Zoom. If we have to do Zoom the first time, fine, but sitting down belly to belly, because then you really get to understand who your client will possibly be, what you're really looking to do. Then after that, we may have another phone conversation and they tell me what they're really looking for, what the campaign or the project is.
See, you've got me back on my rule. Now, I'm not giving no proposals. You still haven't said why, though. Can I say why?
Yeah, we know why. You say it. We're on the same page, Mr. Glover.
Like we slow, like we on the short bus.
No,
I'm gonna do your homework for you.
Yeah, no, and you take it and then have us. No, I don't do that.
Have some off-brand implement my plan.
There you go. I don't do it. I don't do that. No.
Did you ever have to require a deposit?
No, but here's the thing. I get paid. I'm on retainer. All of my clients have me on retainer. And they are invoiced on the first day. And the full monthly payment is 5 days net. and all of them pay it.
Oh, not 30 net?
Because see, I'm not going to be,
I'm going to have to write that down.
I know my worth and I know how hard I grind. So on day 15, when I've already put in a whole month of work, by day 15, no. You're going to pay me first because I know I'm going to work.
See, maybe I've been too hard because I'm cash and carry.
I love that.
You said 5 days net. I think we might have to do a seminar on this. Cash and carry versus 5 days net.
Yep, not 30 days, not 15 days.
I done did all this work and you said I gotta wait till next month?
No, thank you.
You got the wrong one, boo-boo.
But here's the thing, Doni. And when you know you're good, I've been on travel and didn't tell my CPA, yep, go ahead and put out the invoices and have been late maybe 2 or 3 days. I've still got my payment on time. That's when you know that your clients value you. And every day, I don't pray for the money. I pray that I work with clients that are integrous. Mm-hmm.
So let's get back to those young ladies out here. Any other tidbits for our young ladies who are thinking about starting a business, who might be hesitant, they might have a full-time job, but they beefing with the boss and they're right at that point where you says, you know what? Like my mother said, you got one more time. No, she didn't say that. She said, I'm going to get you. But you said, you got one more time. Yeah, she wasn't like that. No, God rest her soul. And after she gets you, she said, I told you I was going to get you.
Yeah, yes. Be strategic. Have a plan. Do your research. Don't be emotional. Don't just, I'm going to start next week. No. Don't believe what you see on social media. Get out there, research, start a foundation of your work before you leave.
What do you mean what you see on social media?
Social media can oftentimes be a facade. Many PR pictures, people are glamming and smiling, or in a restaurant business, they got a plate of food and it looks like the place is busy. No. Get out there, build a strong foundation before you think about leaving your job. Be smart. If you're going to be a business owner, be smart, because it is not easy. It is not easy. You and I, Doni, we've got years. We've got years in this game. Years. And we were smart enough that and you can't, and here's the thing, if you know you like sleeping late in on Saturdays and Sundays, don't do it. If you know you got a party every Friday night, every Saturday, you got to turn up, this is not for you. If you know
you might get a crisis management call at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Or how about at 1 a.m. in the morning?
Or 1 a.m. And you have to spring into action. Your client just called a DWI, a DUI. And you gotta be there to make sure the business is good.
Yeah.
You gotta know who the journalists are.
Yep.
You want to know who took pictures.
Yeah. A few months ago, I got a call from a friend of a friend of a friend and said, we got an issue with an athlete in DC. Can you meet him? I said, yeah, what's the issue? And she really didn't really know. But I said, yeah. The next morning, I was out someplace in Ashburn in the back room in a restaurant. Did I handle the situation? Yes. And here's the thing, Doni. Did I ask for money? No. because something told me, don't even talk about money. This is going to come back around. And here's another thing. His attorneys were telling him to do one thing, and I was telling him do something else.
I imagine his attorneys didn't understand the media. Attorneys understand the courtroom.
The legality of the situation.
The
I'm
legality.
here to protect your brand and your image and help you keep some contracts. I'm not talking about who's suing who. How do we tell your story? How do we tell your story? Now, first of all, 1 a.m. call the next morning, had to change what I had on my schedule, go meet with this person in Ashburn, spent 3 hours with him. Then I'm talking back and forth with him and his attorneys, never asked for a dime. And he didn't offer a dime. But I never brought it up. But I know it's something, when you've been around, game recognizes game, grit recognizes grit. You understand the energy of a situation. And so my energy was, I don't need your money, but you need my value.
So let's end off with that one-liner when you gave your Martin Luther King speech down the Center Club. Game recognizes game.
Game recognizes game. There's nothing else to be said. Doni, you and I have known each other for years, and we've always greeted one another with respect. And then we went on our separate ways because game recognizes game. So I had to stop and respectfully say, hi, how are you doing? You're good? You good, Nicole? See ya. Because game recognizes game. We see the people who are out there flossing, trying to act like they know. But when you've been in it, when you have been in it, game recognizes game.
You save brands, you save families, you save businesses, you save communities if people only knew. So go ahead and put a plug in for your business. How can people get in touch with you?
Yes. If you're looking for a public relations agency that is about the work, about good work and getting it done, campaigns, give us a call. Go to my website, therealcarver.com. You can go ahead and reach me. All the information's on the page. You can go to my personal social media page. That's NS Kirby on Instagram or Carver Communications. And give us a call. I'd love to hear how we could help you.
Any final thoughts, Nicole Kirby? Tell me about Be More News. Why you like Be More News?
Oh, I love Be More News because the founder of Be More News is a person that's passionate, is a historian who knows good work, and is an excellent journalist.
Oh, you helped me to break a story, the story of that medical school on the grounds of Morgan State University. I've seen more of it in the news. I saw something about 3 weeks ago. The story isn't that interesting of what it takes to make a story pop? Almost like what it takes to make a good soup or good stew, what it takes. Is it the same thing every time, or is it much of the same thing, you would say?
It's always the energy that you've got to put behind it. So no matter what the story is, you've got to create energy and movement. Okay. So that movement, someone will pick it up and someone else, but you've got to create the energy behind it. So whether or not it's talking about a new medical school and there hasn't been one in 45 years at an HBCU, or whether or not you're talking about a young Black woman with an ice cream store, what's the energy? What's the story? Create the energy. And that's what it's all about.
Good deal. Thank you for joining us this morning. I hope we inspire somebody. I hope you get a ton of business out of this interview. I hope they just like, oh, that's because, so let me just say, why isn't it Nicole Kirby PR? Because it throws some people. You Carver.
Yeah.
Is that by design? Is that to protect? I mean, okay, never mind. I asked too much questions. I'm a journalist. Don't pay me no mind. Nicole Kirby, we appreciate you. We appreciate the level, the high quality of work that you do nationally, internationally too.
I've done some things in London. Yes. Internationally, yes. Yes, sir.
Internationally known. Nicole Kirby, all the way from Washington, D.C. Much love to your parents, to your husband and your son. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Doni.
Good deal. Good morning, world.